right, Nana Boozhoo, you want to give me a check 1 2, check 1 2? I'm just gonna check the levels here. Check 1 2, check 1 2. How does that sound? I think that sounds just fine. All right, Mamengwa, can you give me a check 1 2? Check 1 2, check 1 2. All right, reckon that'll be fine. Natasha, do you need a microphone? Okay, you're just gonna sit there and look pretty? All right. Okay, boss, I think we're ready. Okay, you want to give us like a little intro? I reckon I could. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nana Boozhoo. Hey, thank you very much. Boozhoo ni Janashanabe Doog. Welcome to Boozhoo Nana Boozhoo. And I am Nana Boozhoo. And today we're gonna talk about Mick the beaver. That's our word for today, a Mick beaver. And this is a story about how a Mick got his tail. Back in the days of the grandfathers, a Mick used to have a big fluffy tail, and he was just proud of it. He would sashay through the woods, showing his tail off to anyone who would listen. He came up to Mukwa, the bear, and he was like, "Hey, Mukwa, check out my tail. Isn't it beautiful?" And Mukwa's like, "Oh yeah, that's a really nice tail." And Mick says, "I bet you wish you had a tail like this." And Mukwa was, "Oh, you know what? That's a nice tail and everything, but my little tail suits me just fine." "Ah, you're just jealous," Mick said, and he turned on his heel and walked away. Well, pretty soon he comes up on Deg, the crow. And he says, "Hey, Ondeg, check out my tail. Isn't it beautiful?" And Ondeg looks at his tail and he says, "Oh yeah, that's a really nice tail. You must be very proud." And Mick goes, "Oh yeah, it's the most beautiful tail ever. I bet you wish you had a tail like this." And Ondeg says, "Look, that tail is good for you, but I like my tail just fine. It helps me steer when I fly." "Ah, you're just jealous," Mick said, and turned on his heel and walked away. And oh gee, he found himself just steamed. You know, you get like that. And he starts chewing on this tree, right? And normally Mick was really good at dropping trees right where they were supposed to go. But on this day he was distracted, thinking about the woodland animals who insulted him. And instead of having the tree fall forward, it started to fall backwards. In the last second, Mick was like, "Oh, what?" And he jumped out of the way. But he didn't make it in time. The tree landed on his tail with a smack. And he pulled out his tail. And now, instead of being all fluffy and beautiful, it was flat like a pancake. And he started to cry. And he goes, "Oh, Creator, Great Spirit, what have you done to me? Look at my tail." And the Creator, the Great Spirit comes down, Gitchi Manitou comes down, and he says, "You know, Mick, you did this to yourself. You know, by having so much pride and acting so ugly to your friends, you weren't paying attention and that tree fell on it. But here, let me tell you something. Sometimes, you know, what you think is a bad thing turns out to be a blessing." He goes, "Jump in the river." And Mick jumps in the river. And he starts swimming around, and pretty soon he sees that he's a great swimmer, better than ever before. And he comes up and he goes, "Gitchi Manitou, I don't know what to say." And Gitchi Manitou says, "Don't say anything at all, but just notice how your ugly behavior led to an ugly tail. But also how everything kind of works. You know, nothing is just all good or all bad. You can see the benefit in anything. And that is why the Gitchi Manitou, and that is how Gitchi Manitou became a Buddhist." Nah, just kidding. And that is the story of how Mick got a flat tail. I think that's the story anyway. That's how I remember it.
hours pull in. Now the day is young, so we begin again. And I shut my eyes to what might be a cool recess beneath these old pine trees. I don't remember where I've been. My past dissipates like snow. Down in the dirt, and I was so far behind, but I've come so far, and I've run so fast. How long do we have? How long did we last? I don't remember where I've been. My past dissipates like snow on skin. It's cold outside, let me in. Our past dissipates like snow on skin. Snow on from what I've seen, nothing's meant to last, but I can't move forward, and I'm living in the past. But I've come so far, and I've run so fast. How long do I have? How long did I last? I don't remember where I've been. what I can be. Limit is the sky. Hey world, watch me fly. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Oh, weary, feeling small, when tears are in your eyes, I'll dry them all. Hey, Boozhoo! Welcome to Boozhoo Nana Boozhoo, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. And we're also the podcast with the big heart. Today we're going to talk about Inamanja feelings. We're going to talk about our feelings. Because this time of year, a lot of people start to get the winter blues. They start to feel really down in the dumps. So I want to talk about how you can get yourself out of that state. You know, in the Ojibwe way, we go to the Mushkiki Date Tibisaid. We go to the medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel represents a lot of things. But when you study the medicine wheel, you start to realize a lot of things fall into groups of four. You know, there are four directions, and there are four seasons, and there are four elements, and there are four stages of life. But today we're going to talk about the four states of being. So the Mushkiki Database, it tells us that we are physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. If you're feeling down, you might not even know why. You know, especially you boys. Sometimes you boys, you think, oh, I'm just angry. Oh, I'm so mad. It's because no one's taught you about your feelings. You might be feeling, disappointed or frustrated. You know, when you understand better, you can address it. So, my Ida, she tells me, you should think about your four states of being. So let's do that. So physical. What does physical mean? Physical is like your diet, your exercise, your health, and your sleep. You're eating good foods. You know, a lot of us get depressed just because we don't get enough vitamin D. You should eat more greens. And then there's mental. And this is your memory, your knowledge, your thinking, your language, and your beliefs. You know, what's in your brain? What do you remember? You know, is something there bumming you out? You might be okay physically, but your memory, something bad happened and you can't stop thinking about it. And we go down to the emotional. These are your physical and mental sensations. These are your internal feelings like happy and sad and mad. This is just the raw feelings you're having. You know, look at it. Are you really angry? Are you actually sad? You know, what are you feeling? You should know if you're going to help yourself. And finally, spiritual. A lot of people don't understand what this means. It's more to spiritual than just, going to church. Spiritual is love, and it's inspiration. Is the Creator giving you inspiration? Are you in line with the forces of nature? It's your creativity, and it's also your selflessness. When you're truly spiritual, you're not, you're not thinking, oh, what can I get for me? You know, you kind of care about everybody else because you're not worried about your body. You're spiritual. You realize you're a monadug. You're a spirit. So those are the four states of being. And that's the Mushkiki Database. So, sometimes it helps if you just kind of write out a medicine wheel and, sit down and take some time, really. You have to know that if you're feeling down, it's not forever. They say suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Don't do it, and don't cut yourself either. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, Miigwech, for watching Boozhoo Nana Boozhoo, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. My name is Nana Boozhoo, and I will see you again. Kigawabamin Minawa. Oh, kind of a deep, heavy podcast today, eh? Well, I hope it helps. Mixed Blood by Michael Lyons. All right. Run! Screamed the little elf. He's right behind us. Ho, ho, ho! The fat man bellowed from his flying sleigh. You better watch out! Geldof and Jared looked up to see a team of reindeer descending from the sky and directly towards them. From the attached sleigh, Santa Claus, with one hand holding the reins and the other gripping a large red and white striped hook, shouted, You better not cry! This way! Jared shouted over his shoulder. Hurry! Leaning out over one side of the sleigh, the terrible bearded man growled through clenched teeth. You better not pout! He's gaining on us! Geldof cried, only a second before Santa's hook struck him hard across his spine and pulled him up and into the back of the sleigh. I'm telling you why! Santa roared. Then with a sinister smile and red cheeks, he turned to Geldof and said, Santa Claus is coming to get you! Before the trembling elf could jump out, they quickly rose high into the chilly night sky. Santa shouted to the lead reindeer, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, light up these woods so we can find that other elf tonight. The winter woods lit up with an eerie red glow. He could see Jared running for the train tracks on the far side of the frozen lake. On Dancer, on Prancer, on Donner and Blitzen, he yelled. Let's get that little savage. Swooping in low and fast, Santa Claus once again held out his oversized peppermint stick, hooked Jared around the back of his neck, and pulled him into the sleigh. Ho, ho, ho! He thundered, and flew off into the frozen night. Ho-wah! And that's to page 4. This is going to be a good book. Okay, there you have it. Mixed Blood, Part 1.
I was born in 1913 in the storm of 1913. But then at boarding school I was nobody's fool. Down at Flandreau I grew madder every day. That's why I had to run away, 'cause this is no way to live. And I wanna go getaway. If we can make it to them tracks, we won't be coming back. Then the cops came and took us back to a leather strap. But I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. I wanna go. And I remember it still. I saw a whippoorwill out on my windowsill. How could I sit still? So I got right up and I walked right out. The teacher said to me, "Where do you think you're going?" Boy, I said I'm going home. I wanna go home. I wanna go home. Ni wiki way, ni wiki way, ni wiki way, ni wiki
Check 1, 2. How does that sound, me mamengwa? Oh, I don't know. Sounds pretty good to me. I'm sorry. What? Nothing. Your voice. It just cracks me up sometimes. All right. Well, thank you. You're a big help around here. Well, all I can do is all I can do. That's right. You know, that makes me think of the hummingbird. She had a really good attitude too. You know, back in the days of the grandfathers. This is the story of Hummingbird and the Great Fire. One day a great fire broke out in the forest, and all the woodland animals had to run to the river. There was Waboos the rabbit, and Asiban the raccoon, and Jagag the skunk, Wagosh the fox. And everybody stood there, and they were just upset as they watched their home burn. And they were bemoaning the destruction of their homes. Everyone thought there was nothing they could do about the fire, except for one little hummingbird. Nenukasi, she goes right into the river and she picks up a beak full of water and flies just fast into the flames. She gets in there and she drops a little bit of water and then she comes right back. And she didn't get burned because she's so fast, you know. And she dives right back in, gets a beak full of water and goes right into the fire and drops some water. Turns around, comes back. And all the animals were watching her do this, and they were like, "Oh, what are you doing? That's not even going to help. Why do you even want to waste your time?" But Nenu Kasi, she didn't even pay attention. She just kept on doing it. Finally, Wagosh, he rolls his eyes and he says, "What do you think you are doing?" And the hummingbird, without wasting time or missing a beat, looked back and said, "I'm doing what I can." And Nenukasi just kept going back and forth. Well, Gitchi Manitou, the Great Spirit, he sees this and he's just impressed. So he says, "Nenukasi, because of your good attitude, I am going to give you super speed." And pretty soon, Nenukasi, she could fly faster than any bird. She could flap her wings so fast that she could just hover there in the air. Not even the eagle could do that. And in some ways, Nenukasi became the most powerful of all the birds. And that is the story of Nenukasi and Chi Ishkore. That is the story of Hummingbird and the Great Fire. Bushkode Jibik, Bushkode Jibik, Nukweji Gan, Bushkode Jibik. Oh, hey there, Boozhoo. Welcome to Boozhoo Nana Boozhoo, a podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. My name is Nana Boozhoo, and today we're going to talk about Bushkode Jibik and Nukweji Gun. Bushkode Jibik and Nukweji Gun. They're our mushkiki. They're medicine. Bushkode Jibik, sage. This is one of our medicines given to us by the Great Spirit, by Gitchi Manitou. And what it does, if you burn Bushkode Jibik, you can Nukweji Gun. You can smudge, and it scares away the bad spirits and it invites in the good spirits. So we like to smudge down before things like, going to a powwow, before ceremony, like you might smudge down and purify. It purifies the air and it purifies yourself. And then, sometimes people get those words mistaken. People come up to me and they'll be like, "Hey, Nana Boozhoo, you got any of that smudge?" I'm like, "No, I don't have any smudge. I got some sage. You want some Bushkode Jibik so you can Nukweji Gun? You want some sage so you can smudge down then?" All right, so there you go. Bushkode Jibik, Nukweji Gun. And those are our words for today. And you've been watching Boozhoo Nana Boozhoo, the podcast about Ojibwe language and culture. I will see you again. Kigawaba min, minawa, hoa. Yeah. Bushkode Jibik, Bushkode Jibik, Nukweji Gan, eh. Okay, well, you've been watching Boozhoo Nana Boozhoo. I'd like to thank my friends here, Anamush and Mamengwa and Natasha, for being here today. And that's all I got. So I will see you again. Gigawaba min, minawa, hoa. Yeah, Mick and how the beaver got his tail. What'd you think of that, Mamengwa? Oh, I don't know, it's pretty good. And I'd concur with that too, sir. I think you did fine, just fine.